do and talk a little bit about 3D printing and how it affects us, and then Erin will get into more of the technical details of how we use it in the products and why it makes life easier for us. So just an overview of Spartan. As Ahmed mentioned a little while ago, many of you might be familiar with Aubrey Group. We've been around here in Orange County for 20 years, and we were acquired about a year ago by Spartan Corporation, who is basically a premier design and manufacturing outsourcing company, and we work with the regulated industries. Medical is primarily a big focus of what we do, and also some of the industrial and military and aerospace markets as well. And we rely heavily on our Spartan production system, which focuses on a lean approach to manufacturing. We have broad experience and expertise for helping solving challenges for our clients, technical design challenges, as well as we believe in building strong relationships with our clients and partnering with them to realize their vision. And at this point, we have over 130 products of medical devices, IVD, in vitro diagnostic type instruments that are being designed and manufactured across our various facilities. Going back to Aubrey Group, it's now called the Irvine Design Center, and we focus primarily on design and development of medical devices and clinical diagnostic type instruments. And we provide services ranging from entrepreneurial services, helping a lot of the entrepreneurs get started, taking their concept design and taking it all the way from engineering design, development, help them with rapid prototyping, V&V. We help do clinical bills, pilot bills, then also provide a lot of regulatory support to help take these devices through FDA clearance to get regulatory compliance testing for CE mark and so forth. And then we also, of course, because we like to build relationships with our clients, we also help sustaining engineering, so we help maintain their product over a period of time. This slide here is just giving a quick overview of the breadth of the capabilities that we have. We have mechanical engineering, software engineering, electrical, industrial design, fluidics, optics, all of the various capabilities across a wide variety of industries, from DNA analysis to cardiac monitoring to RF ablation to dialysis to different types of therapeutic devices, as well as surgical devices. And we are a company with world-class facilities spread across the US, and then we also have a facility in Vietnam, which is one of our manufacturing centers. And just recently, actually, which is still not here, is we acquired a facility up in Northern California as well. So that does heavy manufacturing of PCBs, and it's called Hunter Technologies. And because we're in the medical device space, we have all of these certifications, ISO 13485, ISO 9001, and we're also registered with the FDA as an FDA registered facility. So now moving on to the topic at hand, I wanted to put a few slides before Erin got into the technical details. And I know 3D printing has become a big talk and a buzzword for the last few years, but it really has beginnings from a long time ago, and it's a little bit hard to read some of this. But it really started about 30 years ago with the SLA machines and so forth. The concept of 3D printing really has evolved over a long period of time. And today, about 5 or 6 years ago, it really took off with the rip-wrap printers, and I know I have one at home. I don't know how many of you had played with the rip-wrap printers. Have you heard of those? Which was really, just a way that it got it close to the consumer. You could have one at home, you could experiment, really cheap, not really high quality, but something that you had tangible. You could make little artifacts at home and bracelets and things like that. So that really, I think, brought it from not only being used in the industrial and medical device space, but also something that individually each of us can connect with. So some of the benefits, I think 3D printing is here to stay. And some of the benefits really are it gives you a high degree of customization. And some of the pictures I have here is the artificial ear that was made, was printed for using 3D printing, or more of a spine, artificial axis, which was actually implanted in a patient in China. From medical life-saving applications customized to each user to something as simple as Hershey offers you printed chocolate. You can print chocolate in any shape and form you want. To fashion, where you can print shoes and costumes or dresses or whatever else. So it has a wide range of impact on our lives, from saving other people's lives in medical device technology to everyday use and everyday the consumer at home. And so the last thing is what impact it's going to have on the future, and is it really going to change the world? And some examples here are in China. They've printed buildings and houses. In the top corner up there, the white villa is something that they printed out of 3D materials, as well as the brown box-like building. It's not the building that was printed in China out of 3D materials. And we don't know if this is going to become reality. We're all going to be living in these kinds of things or not, but that's where it is out there. And then there's, of course, the car that was printed as well, which is as strong as steel and half the weight. So this is something where the future is going to take us. We don't know, but it's really going to lead to goods being manufactured closer to this point of consumption. It may or may not affect the big manufacturing factories and so forth. And all that remains to be seen. But 20 years ago, we didn't know we would be here today. And it's going to bring up issues related to liability, who owns intellectual property. There's a lot of creativity involved, but there's also a lack of quality control because people are printing the whole thing. So a lot of things to ponder about of what the future is going to be. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Erin, who's going to talk about a case study and how we actually use it at Spartan Aubrey Group.
All right, thank you, Jahnavi. So nice to see you all here. Take some time out of your day and learn a little bit about 3D printing and how it might actually increase your quality, decrease your time to market, reduce your costs. Now, as you know, the last couple of years, especially you see news articles pretty commonly, 3D printed something, 3D printed prosthetics some child worked on. And this technology has come down to a level where in one sense it's very easy to use. In the other sense, though, not every aspect of 3D technology is suitable for everybody. So in our case, though, this particular example is Remendium. It's one of the few projects we can actually talk about in a lot of detail. We have a bunch of other really, really neat stuff that we could show, but we're not allowed to. Now this one is a Kegel training device. Not everybody knows what that is, but Kegel training is, in this particular case, the device is to help women with incontinence problems go and train their muscles in order to control their bladder better. So this is part of it. There's another part that is insertable, as you might say. There's also a web app. There's also a iPod or iPhone app, and these things all talk to each other. So this particular part is the transmitter box. Now this is the newest one, as in the current generation transmitter box. If we move to the next page here, I'll show you where it was about a year ago. The upper picture, that was the first generation device. And that one we went all the way to tooling and actually made parts with a plastic motor, one that specializes in rapid prototype, or actually rapid manufacturing. It really wasn't a prototype. And this one actually went through FDA submission and clearance and is a 510K cleared device. Now, what we did over the last several months is take that one, which is a first generation device, and as you can see, it's kind of a little bit clunky looking. You can see the screws, get my little pointer here. So you can see the screws not hiding on the side. You see a screw right there. You can see the circuit board. And you'd ask, well, why was it designed that way? The reason was cost. The client had very little money. So to go and make the design for these features, they didn't have that kind of money. So in order to get them something to market quickly, we wrap a box around it. The circuit board is designed, the size of the box had already been dictated as the project is evolving in parallel with several people working in different places, and we ended up with this. But this was good enough. Now, upon getting clearance, all of a sudden you're much more valuable. And so we've iterated to our new device over here. And so as you can see, it's subtly different, but it is nicer looking. We have a little ring around the button to make that recessed. It turns out every time you try to put this device in a purse, which is where we think it will live, you turn it on and run the batteries down. So with the recess, that goes away. Hide the circuit board. Take this screw and flip it inside out. Clean up the edges, all the edges are smoother. But we're talking quite a lot in tooling. So now I have some of these parts over here, so we're welcome to check these out later on as the meeting breaks up and see what the old one looked like, what the rapid prototype looked like, which in fact Jay Dinsmore from Dinsmore & Associates, he built our rapid prototype parts, and also see what the current device looks like. Now, the reason that we went to rapid prototyping is that we're talking 20 grand in tools and 10 weeks. And that's quite a long time and a lot of money. So when you go and look at the relative efficiency of trying to cut a tool and modify it versus 3D printing this thing, seeing if it fits, and in our case, we changed the circuit board design a little bit to go and move the screws inward. So it has these little notches. We also changed the case to go and fit a little bit nicer, like I said. We changed the battery cover. I don't have the battery cover in this picture. We added this little window, changed the button, changed the belt clip. So all of these things are different, but we want to prove that it's correct before we go to tooling. So go and send the files on over, and a few days later, we get this stuff and put it together. Now, we also didn't have the circuit board in hand, so we 3D printed the circuit board, left the holes in it to go and bond these parts in. They're just glued in. But they are in the correct location, and we can go and check to make sure the actual connector still fits, the button works correctly. All these things are really important because any one thing that we mess up is not just the 10 weeks to go and make the tool to find out, but another 2 or 3 weeks to turn the tool, if you can save the tool. Some changes, like when we're talking, let me back up a little bit. When we're talking tooling, when you're making molded parts, you have to imagine each of these parts being surrounded by 2 blocks of steel that you have to pull apart. And you have to make the shapes in the steel. That's the reason why you spend 20 grand. So in order to go and essentially get to market faster and prove that everything's going to work without spending our time spinning our wheels or trying to save a tool or trying to modify a tool, test it here. Now, I believe that's about it. Now, if I back up a little bit, you can see that in real life, this is a CAD screenshot since it's easier to make a CAD screenshot. But these parts are all right here. Everything fit exactly like they were supposed to, which is nice. I also tuned a spring. There's a spring underneath the new belt clip to go and make it so it locks into place. And in this particular example, is very helpful. Other examples that we've had include a handheld device that injects various materials into the body. That one, the steel tool for that had a whole bunch of what we call side actions. So the tool to make, say, this lid here is the simplest kind of tool you can make. It just opens and closes vertically. A side action is when you want an undercut or holes on the side, and we make little lifts and slides and things in the tool to do that. So in this other device I'm talking about, and it's one I can't show, I'd love to be able to show it to you. That particular one had 4 side actions and cost $70,000. And that was just one tool for one piece of the thing. And the total tooling cost for that one is up in the $250,000 range. And you cannot imagine going and cutting that much, putting that much money into your steel tooling and then waiting, in this case, 14 weeks to go and then find out if you got it all right. So it's really all about being efficient, cost-effective, and safer for the client, for ourselves, for everybody, really. So that's about all I had to say here.
Okay, thank you very much.